But would you like to talk about the guy who's a mark for himself, probably bigger than anybody in the company, Brian, at this point? Old Dick the Boozer, our friend and colleague.
Yeah, this is kind of where the show took a turn in a direction that I really didn't like.
Well, it's funny how it happens that way every time Moxley gets in the fucking ring. A no-holds-barred match with Kyle O'Reilly and our friend Jon Moxley. And I know you're going to say, well, wait a minute. The previous two, hold on. How many matches have had rules tonight? Wait a minute. From the opening 6-man technically was not a no DQ match, but only 2 guys joined at 10 minutes in. Darby and Pac, I don't believe was a no DQ match, but they got away with a lot of shit. The 4-way women's was no DQ. The World Tag title wasn't no DQ, but by cracky, the goddamn Casino Gauntlet was. Now we've got a no-holds-barred match. And at first, for a couple seconds, they tried wrestling like Darby and Pac did. And Kyle O'Reilly is not bad at an MMA influence mat wrestling style, but they couldn't do Darby and Pac. They don't look physically as athletic. They weren't as sharp. They weren't as crisp. They didn't do it as long. And Moxley can't do it at all. No bueno, as they say about Moxley's pro wrestling basics. They tried to grapple, but Moxley gets stretched in the amateur tournaments in Cincinnati. So Moxley got a fork and stabbed O'Reilly in the head 15 times. Imagine this, Kyle got color. So now he's bleeding. He can't just stab him once. He stabbed him 15 fucking times. And now this highlights Moxley's tough guy work and attitude. He's committed to it, but it's so fake. And he does such stupid, silly things. It's not like evil or sadistic. It's jackassy and throwing a guy off the porch type of shit. And the fans through this entire match, Brian, am I telling a lie? They sat there and stared until somebody got stabbed with a fork, did something gross, or bit somebody that was bloody.
Yeah.
That's when they popped, right?
Pretty much.
And he stabbed him in the nipple with his fork. And in between that, this was as exciting as Dry Rot, because that's all Moxley's about. And again, I've been a fan of Kyle's, but the time to elevate him into a top spot was years ago when he first came in. Instead of making him a welcome mat and a fucking throw rug that just gets beat all the time, and then years later, suddenly he's making the fucking former world champion that would never do a job tap out. Well, was Dean Ambrose's work, I may have asked you this before, was it as bad as Jon Moxley's is while he was there and they have some level of professional criteria? Or is this just all degenerated now as part of his downhill spiral?
You know, now that like all the camp counselors are dead, Jon Moxley is just Jon Moxley unleashed. He was never good. It used to drive me crazy because I would hear the comparisons to Terry Funk or Roddy Piper. And I was like, oh, I got to see this guy. And I'd watch him and he sucks. And then I'd be, all right, maybe it was a bad night. And I'd watch him again and he sucks. And he still sucks. But now it's also disgusting. It's bad ideas run amok.
Well, they popped when Kyle stabbed Moxley with a fork. Then they went for about 5 miles an hour for a while. And then O'Reilly just got a 10-foot chain out from under the ring and wrapped it around Moxley. And Moxley wrapped it around Kyle. And they just held double front face locks on each other. And then, I don't know what this was supposed to be. They each grabbed an end of the chain and held onto it, but traded forearms with their bare arm. And then O'Reilly stabbed Moxley's hand with a fork. I'm just looking at these notes. Moxley got a chair and Pillmanized O'Reilly's arm, stomped on it. And, so the announcer, oh, his arm might be broken. And then they rolled around a while, and O'Reilly got an ankle lock on Moxley with the chain around his leg, which didn't matter really and didn't add any leverage to the thing. And Moxley tapped out. And the people do cheer anytime Moxley doesn't win for obvious reasons, but this was the invincible world champion that just beat everybody for so long. And suddenly, after he loses the belt, well, now I'm going to tap out 18 times to Kyle O'Reilly, of all people, all of a sudden. I don't. And we were over 2 hours into the pay-per-view. There was another 2+ hours to go. And they've already had, as I mentioned, several of the anything goes, no holds barred. We've got chains, we got chairs, we got people coming in, and they got 2 hours more of this to go. But I'm happy for Kyle O'Reilly. Nice kid. That they're using him better. Wish they had him from the start. But I've never understood anything Moxley has done yet. And what is his goddamn mission? What is the movie character that he's imitating or ripping off, or what is going on with the thing?
Forky from Toy Story.
It's just bad. It's not good. It's unnecessary. And Moxley always takes it too far. And it's not just the fork. It's now the fork. It's been a bunch of these different things. On the positive side, Kyle O'Reilly went over. Let's see how they book him coming out of this. Tony Khan is notorious for being bad with following up on things. And Jon Moxley and the Death Riders are notorious for not letting feuds end. So we'll see what happens next here. But, the Moxley stuff, I guess I'll say it here. I wish the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board governed wrestling. And this card, I don't mean to sound like JJ Binns or anything. But this card was as bloody a card, I think, as I've ever seen. To the point where there were pools of blood in multiple matches in the middle of the ring.
Oh no, they've done way worse.
I don't know. This was, I think, too gruesome. You remember the argument from Amanda Huber last time. I know better than to let my kids watch a Jon Moxley match at midnight. If AEW is supposed to be for everyone, Tony, is it supposed to be that your kids can't watch the pay-per-views at all? Because I just think it's gone too far, and this kind of triggered the beginning of the rest of the night. With the exception of the Young Bucks match and Mercedes, just everything I thought went too far.
Yeah, the Hardley boys ain't gonna get a lot of great Muda juice jobs, but that's the thing. I'm not offended at the quantity of the blood. I'm offended at the fact that none of it means anything anymore because they do it so many often, match after match after match, and it's as meaningless as everything else now. I'm more offended by the electrocutions and the flamethrowers and the people being flung off high precipices, especially when there's a fake crash pad to make it even more stupid or whatever, rather than just the blood. It's just the blood. Tony's stuck. He's hit the wall. Every match has blood. Every match has goddamn is for money. Every match has multiple people. Every match is for a belt. This is what he's stuck on.